Emily, we have you on camera entering their cells.
I'm sorry, I don't know what you're talking about.
Sure you don't.
I was doing my rounds. That's my
Turn
job.
around. Put your hands behind your back.
Wait, why am I being arrested right now?
That Thursday afternoon in the employee parking lot of Coastal State Prison marked the end of Emily Whitfield's career in corrections. 23 years old, 18 months on the job, 5 inmates, 1 pregnancy, and a digital trail that would expose conduct so brazen, so reckless, that even veteran investigators struggled to comprehend how it had continued undetected for as long as it did. This is the story of how one young correctional officer threw away her future, and how the Georgia Department of Corrections failed to stop her until it was far too late. Emily Whitfield grew up in Waycross, Georgia, a small city of 14,000 people in the southeastern corner of the state. Her father had worked for the Georgia Department of Corrections for 22 years as a transport officer. Her older brother followed the same path, starting at Ware State Prison straight out of high school. For Emily, corrections wasn't a career choice. It was the family business. She graduated from Ware County High School in 2018 with a 2.8 GPA and no clear direction. Community college lasted 1 semester before she dropped out, citing financial pressures. She worked at a Waffle House for 8 months, then at a distribution center loading trucks on the overnight shift. In March 2021, 3 months after her 21st birthday, Emily submitted her application to the Georgia Department of Corrections. Her application was unremarkable. No criminal record, no red flags. Her father's long tenure gave her a minor advantage during the interview process. According to personnel records later obtained through open records requests, the interviewing officer noted that Emily seemed eager to serve and came from a corrections family with strong values. She was hired on May 3, 2021. Coastal State Prison sits on 2,400 acres of former farmland outside Savannah. Opened in 1989, the facility houses approximately 1,400 male inmates across 5 housing units. Security levels range from minimum to close custody. Emily completed her 6 weeks of basic training at the Georgia Public Safety Training Center in Forsyth. Her evaluations were average. One instructor noted she was easily distracted but showed adequate physical fitness. Another remarked that she struggled with confrontational scenarios during role-play exercises. None of these observations prevented her certification. On June 21, 2021, Emily reported for her first shift at Coastal State Prison. She was assigned to D Block, a close custody unit housing 168 inmates serving sentences ranging from 5 years to life. D Block was considered one of the facility's more challenging assignments. The inmates were younger on average, many of them serving their first major sentences. Tensions ran high. Contraband flowed freely despite regular shakedowns. Emily was one of 4 female officers assigned to the unit. Within her first week, supervisors noticed she had a particular rapport with certain inmates. Her shift sergeant, Marcus Ballard, would later testify that he observed Emily spending excessive time at individual cells, but attributed it to inexperience. New officers sometimes overcorrect, Ballard said in his deposition. They think building relationships is part of the job. I told her to keep moving. I thought she understood. She did not understand. Before we continue, leave a comment letting us know where you're watching this video from, and consider subscribing to the channel. We cover cases that mainstream media ignores. According to court documents filed in Chatham County Superior Court, Emily's first inappropriate contact with an inmate occurred in late August 2021, barely 2 months into her employment. The inmate, identified in court records as inmate number 1, was a 27-year-old serving 6 years for armed robbery. He had been at Coastal for 3 years and was scheduled for a parole hearing in 2023. Inmate number 1 would later describe their initial interactions in a sworn statement. She started bringing me extra snacks from the break room. Then she gave me her Instagram handle. We started messaging. Those Instagram messages, retrieved through a search warrant, painted a picture of escalating intimacy. On September 4th, 2021, Emily wrote, "I keep thinking about you at night." On September 12th, "Nobody has to know anything. I know how to be careful." On September September 19th, she sent a photograph of herself in her bathroom mirror. The physical relationship began sometime in late September. According to inmate number 1's statement, their first encounter occurred in a maintenance closet adjacent to the laundry facility during a period when Emily had been assigned to escort inmates to work details. She told me she'd done it before, inmate number 1 said. She said she knew where all the cameras were. Whether that claim was true or simply bravado, the investigation would later determine that Emily had, in fact, studied the facility's surveillance blind spots with troubling precision. Inmate number 1 was not alone. Over the next 14 months, between September 2021 and November 2022, Emily Whitfield engaged in sexual relationships with 4 additional inmates. Inmate number 2 was 24 years old, serving 8 years for aggravated assault. Their relationship began in January 2022, overlapping with her ongoing involvement with inmate number 1. Inmate number 3 was 31, serving 15 years for distribution of controlled substances. He would later describe Emily as hungry for attention and noted that she initiated contact by accidentally leaving her personal phone number on a slip of paper during cell inspection. Inmates number 4 and number 5 were both contacted in the summer of 2022. Both were under 30. Both were serving sentences exceeding 5 years. The investigative file would eventually contain over 340 pages of Instagram direct messages, 87 photographs exchanged between Emily and the 5 inmates, and 16 separate incident reports from other correctional officers who had noticed suspicious behavior but failed to escalate their concerns. One such report, filed by Officer Denise Pratt on April 8, 2022, stated, "Officer Whitfield observed an unauthorized area near B corridor at 22:45 hours. When questioned, stated she was checking on a reported disturbance. No disturbance was logged. No follow-up investigation occurred." Another report, dated July 14, 2022, noted that an inmate had been seen receiving items of unknown origin from Officer Whitfield's lunch bag. That report was reviewed by a shift supervisor, stamped addressed verbally, and filed away. The pattern was clear in hindsight. Emily had grown bold. She was taking risks that should have triggered immediate intervention. Instead, the institution's oversight mechanisms failed at every turn. In late October 2022, Emily called in sick for 3 consecutive shifts. Her supervisor attempted to reach her by phone. She did not respond. On November 2nd, Emily returned to work. A colleague noted that she appeared pale and distracted. During a break in the staff lounge, another officer overheard her making a phone call in which she said, "I don't know what to do. I can't get rid of it." That officer reported the conversation to Human Resources, believing Emily might be experiencing a personal crisis. Human Resources scheduled a wellness check for November 7th. Emily did not attend. On November 9th, during a routine administrative review of employee medical claims, a benefits coordinator noticed that Emily had submitted paperwork for prenatal vitamins. This finally triggered an escalation. On November 14th, 2022, the Georgia Department of Corrections Office of Professional Standards opened a formal investigation into Emily Whitfield. Investigators interviewed 9 inmates from D Block. 3 initially denied any knowledge. 5 refused to speak without legal counsel. 1, inmate number 3, provided a full confession within the first hour of questioning. "She's pregnant," he told investigators, "and it's not mine, but I know whose it is." A paternity test was ordered. The results confirmed that inmate number 2 was the father. On the afternoon of November 17th, 2022, Emily Whitfield pulled her gray Honda Civic into the employee parking lot at Coastal State Prison. 2 investigators from the Office of Professional Standards were waiting beside her designated parking space. Badge camera footage from that encounter shows Emily stepping out of her vehicle with a travel mug in one hand and her lunch bag in the other. Her expression shifts from confusion to recognition to fear in a matter of seconds. "Ms. Whitfield, we need to speak with you regarding an ongoing investigation," the lead investigator states. "Am I in trouble?" Emily asks. "We have some questions about your activities on D Block." Emily sets down her lunch bag on the hood of her car. Her hands are shaking. "I want to call my dad," she says. "You can call anyone you want after we're finished. Right now, we need you to come with us." The footage shows Emily beginning to cry. Her mascara runs. She wipes her eyes with the sleeve of her uniform. "I know what this is about," she says quietly. "I know." "Then let's talk. I made a mistake. I made a lot of mistakes. Yikes. Those words, captured on audio, would later be introduced as evidence during her criminal proceedings. Stories like this don't get the attention they deserve. If you want to see more accountability coverage, subscribe and hit the notification bell. Let's get into the legal fallout. Emily Whitfield was terminated from the Georgia Department of Corrections, effective November 18, 2022. Her personnel file was marked not eligible for rehire. On December 6, 2022, a grand jury in Chatham County indicted Emily on 5 counts of sexual misconduct by a correctional employee, a felony under Georgia law. Additional charges included 2 counts of violation of oath by a public officer and 1 count of providing contraband to an inmate. Emily's attorney, public defender Malcolm Reeves, entered a not guilty plea on her behalf during her arraignment on December 19th. Pre-trial motions consumed the first 3 months of 2023. The defense argued that the relationships were consensual and therefore should not constitute criminal conduct. The prosecution countered with a simple but devastating response. Under Georgia law, an inmate cannot legally consent to sexual contact with a correctional officer. The power imbalance eliminates the possibility of consent. The crime is the act itself. On April the 24th, 2023, Emily Whitfield changed her plea to guilty on all counts. During her sentencing hearing on June 8, 2023, Judge Patricia Holloway allowed 2 of the inmate's family members to deliver victim impact statements. The mother of inmate number 2 addressed the court for 7 minutes. "My son made bad choices," she said. "That's why he's in prison, but he's still my son, and she took advantage of him. She was supposed to protect him. Instead, she preyed on him." Emily did not make a statement. Judge Holloway sentenced her to 4 years in state custody to be served at Pulaski State Prison, a women's facility 150 miles from her hometown. She was also ordered to register as a sex offender upon release. "The defendant violated a sacred trust," Judge Holloway said during sentencing. "Correctional officers are charged with maintaining order and ensuring safety. Instead, Ms. Whitfield pursued her own gratification at the expense of those in her custody. The court finds this conduct reprehensible." Emily Whitfield's case prompted a limited internal review at Coastal State Prison. 3 supervisors received written reprimands for failing to investigate warning signs. Shift Sergeant Marcus Ballard was reassigned to administrative duties, pending further review. No additional terminations occurred. The Georgia Department of Corrections issued a press statement emphasizing their zero-tolerance policy for sexual misconduct and announcing enhanced training protocols for new hires. Critics noted that similar announcements had followed similar scandals in 2018, 2020, and 2021. Emily gave birth to a daughter in February 2023 while awaiting sentencing. The child was placed in the custody of Emily's mother, who declined all media requests for comment. Inmate number 2, the biological father, remains incarcerated at Coastal State Prison. He is scheduled for release in 2028. He has not sought parental rights. Emily is expected to complete her sentence in 2027. This case was disturbing, but this next case on the right-hand side is even more shocking. Click it now.